um, stress myself too much.
Well, this is not an official Roadrunner sport at this time, but last time we checked, the ACHA had 18 club teams in California. Their first game is set to be on Sunday, October 7th at the Rabobank Arena against Fresno State. And today, the California Highway Patrol held a special class for senior drivers to help keep them informed on any updated rules of their road. The Age Well Drive Smart course is a free class offered to reduce motor vehicle collisions and pedestrian deaths, along with injuries experienced by older Californians, and to increase seniors' alternate transportation options when drivers are no longer an option. The 2-hour non-cost class discusses important issues such as safe driving habits, consequences of poor choices behind the wheel, and tips on how to avoid a crash.
Technically, they are the safest driving group that we have in the state of California per capita, and so we all need a good refresher every once in a while, including myself. And so that's pretty much what we did today. We want them to stay driving as long as they can, but be safe about it.
According to the CHP, the number of senior drivers on our roadways is increasing. By 2020, they predict that there will be 4.9 million senior drivers in California, a number that is expected to grow to 6.9 million by 2040. Chris?
A growing number of Americans are redefining what retirement really looks like. Working and caring for someone older at home. And the Now's Nicole Val introducing us to a woman who is nearing retirement age and caring for multiple generations.
You know, I'm never going to have an empty nest here, but he does have a good appetite.
Martha Clinkscales
His plate will sit out there for a few minutes, but he'll have his little bit of wine.
has a lot on her plate. In her home, not only does she take part in the care of her 94-year-old father-in-law.
Okay, your dinner's ready if you're ready for it.
For the last 30-plus years, she's owned her own home care business in Atlanta.
I have a lot of commitments to keep.
Oh, and one more thing. She has a 14-year-old son, the youngest of 5.
I was 46 when I had Rush, unexpectedly, but joyfully. I have never been off. I have never had a year where I didn't need to make sure that I provided for myself and someone else.
At the age of 61, retirement for Martha looks a lot like a distant dream than a near reality.
My full retirement, full, with Social Security is 66 and 6 months, right? But I will probably not retire and stop working till I'm closer to 70.
The truth is, the price tag on aging is a lot more than she expected, and she isn't alone. Recent studies show a record number of Americans, 1 in 5, are working and caring for at least one other person beyond the age of 65.
I'll check in on you in a little bit, okay?
A full plate indeed.
Having children, having parents, having work, it's a very full schedule. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it's a lot.
An increasing population of Americans are redefining what retirement really looks like, a big issue for people like Martha ahead of the midterm election.
I'm all in favor of as much support as the government feels like it can offer to aging. All right, love you.
For the Now, I'm Nicole Vowell.
All right, Nicole, thank you. Back to our lineup here. And you know those DNA tests that help you figure out your family history? Well, there are now similar tests that can help you find the best medication. We're going to show you how that works. You're watching The Now. All right, let's get to the Now News feed. Some important stories here coming at you fast. And Elizabeth Smart is saying that she has been assured the woman who helped kidnap her, she will be watched when she's released from prison this week. That woman expected to get out on Wednesday after 15 years. Visa and MasterCard will pay as much as $6.2 billion. Merchants had accused the card companies of boosting fees to fund their rewards programs. This is the largest ever class action settlement in an antitrust case. Well, time to get out your leather jacket, party like it's the 80s, because Billy Idol returning to Vegas next year. It'll be for 10 shows. Tickets go on sale Friday. Idol still rocking out at 62 years old. Good for him. Well, we've all heard of using our genes to map out our family history. Plenty of tests help you do that. But now healthcare providers, they're using similar testing to help patients personalize their medication. We're talking about everything from diabetes to mental health. The Now's Kamasi Aaron's showing us how one woman used it and how you can as well.
We came out here for the peace and quiet.
If there's one thing Sharon Matthews might like more than her home,
it is the Family Tree Guide to DNA Testing and Genetic Genealogy.
It's learning about her genealogy.
I've gone all the way back to the 1700s.
But after she had a stroke, this turned from a hobby into a lifesaver.
Who would have thought when I started this in the 80s that it would turn out this way?
When Sharon went to the hospital on Mother's Day, doctors told her she'd had a stroke and another one just months before.
I was shocked.
Then Sharon found out the medication doctors prescribed didn't offer stroke protection for people with a genetic abnormality she detected through a DNA test.
You spit in a tube and then you mail it in.
She got an official blood test from her doctor, and based on those results, a pharmacist recommended another medication that would help prevent another stroke, all based on her genes.
It makes a huge difference, especially the peace of mind that I'm being given the medicine that is the best for me to keep me healthy.
This is Sharon's test result back.
Allison Quinn is a pharmacist at Kaiser Permanente and says if you're having an issue with a medication, you can test a specific gene known to have an interaction with that drug.
And so you'd come into the lab, you'd get your blood drawn, and then the results would get kind of sent off, get analyzed, and then come back to us.
A pharmacist would then review your results and make a recommendation.
This medication isn't dangerous for you, but it looks like in order for it to work well for you, we're going to need to go up on that dose. Or, hey, you don't process this medication well, so we're going to need to switch you.
You could spend all day and all night doing this.
Looking into the branches of your family tree.
I feel reassured and empowered.
In an effort to keep it growing strong. For the Now, I'm Kamasi Aaron.
All right, Kamasi, thank you. And thieves are apparently looking for specific types of cars, and the most tempting ones, they don't appear to be the newer models. And there's a new list out today of exactly what they're looking for. Now, Honda Civics, no surprise here, they've really been making the list for a while now. The National Insurance Crime Bureau says that 1998 Civics, they're stolen more than the 2017 models. Now, the 97 Honda Accord is the second most stolen car, and that's followed by 2006 Ford pickups. Thieves looking for newer cars, they tend to target Nissan Altimas, Toyota Camrys, and GMC trucks.
Thanks, Chris. And the ACLU filed a complaint today that accuses Facebook and 10 companies of discriminating based on gender. It says Facebook ad targeting systems let companies show jobs to men only. This plus excluding women and people who identify as non-binary. Facebook made changes this year to prevent discrimination, but the complaint says those changes didn't apply to gender. For its part, Facebook says there's no place for discrimination on the platform. The ACLU, a law firm, and the Communications Workers of America filed the complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And today, the Kern County Board of Supervisors announced that they have appointed Joshua Danis as the Kern County Veteran Service Officer in a unanimous vote of 5-0. Dannins still starts on October 1st. He will be starting then. And Dannins served honorably in the Military Police Corps of the United States Army for 5 years before serving in that same capacity with the California Army National Guard for another 4 years, where he was deployed to combat tours in Bosnia and Iraq and earned a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart. Dannins has worked for the Kern County Veteran Service Department since 2012, serving as their Veteran Service Manager for the last 3 years. Current Veteran Service Officer Dick Taylor will be retiring at the end of this month. But we are going to take a look outside from our roof cam and check in with the Now's Western Guard Kero, who has more on our forecast.
Well, it was just a beautiful afternoon today. We had a high of 86 degrees here in Bakersfield, which is below seasonal. And you can see behind me as the sun is setting all the lights from the fair. It is going to be so much fun out there. We're going to have all new attractions, and temperatures are going to be feeling just great. Doors open at 3 p.m. tomorrow, and temperatures are going to be in the mid 80s. And then by the time the fair ends tomorrow at 10 p.m., going to be dropping down to the low 70s with clear blue skies. It's going to be a perfect day for the first day of the fair. But we do have a system that's making its way through California, so that's been bringing some strong winds, especially up in the Kern River Valley as well as down toward our desert cities, also bringing very low humidity levels. This is a dry, cooler air mass. So looking at 30% humidity in Bakersfield, 16 in California City, and that will be the case again tomorrow. And as for our air quality, well, we will be spending another day in the moderate range with an AQI of 71. But as for temperatures, well, those below seasonal temperatures sticking around just in time for the first day of the fair, which is 86 degrees, and then temperatures will be warming up starting on Thursday up to 94 degrees on Friday, which is actually the warmest day of the week. And for the first official day of fall on Saturday, still in those 90s, but then dropping down to the 80s by early next week. The Now Bakersfield will be right back.
Well, what's left of Florence is just dumping rain on the Northeast today. Virginia, it's cleaning up after tornadoes touched down yesterday. Look at this video, the roof just coming right off there. Now, some rivers in North and South Carolina are reaching their highest levels today. Others going to reach that stage tomorrow. Now, I want you to see this map here. This is from the National Weather Service showing the areas where flooding is the most severe. Now, on this map, the purple, that's the most severe, the major flooding there. Red, moderate. Orange is considered minor. Now, to put all of this into perspective, when you just hear how bad this flooding is, some rivers are expected to reach levels 18 to 20 feet above levels that are considered normal. Think about it this way. That would be slightly higher than 4 average used cars stacked on each other. All of this submerged. Some of these rivers, they're actually breaking records that were set during Hurricane Matthew in 2016 and going all the way back to Hurricane Floyd in 1999. And take a look at this picture. This is from the Fayetteville, North Carolina Police Department, also showing you just how far the water has come up. That's the same location along the Cape Fear River on Sunday, then Monday, then you see it today. Well, the Consumer Federation of America expecting 100,000 flood claims for about $7 billion, and that doesn't include additional 70,000 claims that will come from wind damage at about $3 billion. All right, let's get to the Now news feed, and a man who is charged now with killing a champion Spanish golfer. She was a member of the Iowa State University golf team. Her body found on a golf course in central Iowa yesterday. Space Force, if that actually happens, it's not going to come cheap. The Air Force says it will cost about $12.9 billion in its first 5 years. The Air Force's secretary proposing this week that a Space Force headquarters open in 2020. How about this for a dream job? Marriott will pay you to travel the world and watch the NFL. Not bad. The hotel chain hiring a Courtyard NFL global correspondent. This person going to go to games in the US, London, and Mexico. Fans need to submit a 60-second video explaining why they would be a perfect fit for that job. Well, have you ever been asked, how do you describe your personality? It can be a tough question. Well, there is a new assessment test that has us talking today here on The Now, and we've brought in The Now's Annie Taylor to kind of explain what's going on here.
Well, based on new data, scientists at Northwestern University surveyed 1.5 million people and had them answer over 250 questions. The algorithm created by the scientists examined 5 character traits to assess what personality type you have. The 4 personality types are average, role model, self-centered, and reserved. Average people are described as neutral and agreeable. Role models are good leaders and dependable people. The self-centered type lack openness and are less conscientious of others. And finally, reserved people are described as emotionally stable and somewhat agreeable. Okay, so I had to find out what people actually thought of these latest personality types, so I hit the streets to find out.
I guess I'd lean towards average, just because who wants to be like, I'm a role model, or I'm self-centered.
I would say average, I guess. I guess everyone says average.
That's the most popular one.
Yeah, no one wants to say self-centered.
All right, so I know you took the test. I guess first of all, how long does it take and what did you get?
Yeah, okay, well the test, it's like 300 questions, so 20 minutes, yes. Yeah. So it's very detailed. I actually got average, just like all those answers out there. They were like, I hope I get average. At first I'm like, I don't want average, but no, it's kind of the best
Average is good. I mean, it's a little hard. It just sounds like kind of blah, but I think at the end of the day, you want to be balanced. So.
Right? And you're open. Yeah. You're conscientious of others.
That's positive. Yeah, for sure.
Just
all right. Annie, thanks. And ahead in our lineup, you know those new high-tech cars that are out there? They're not just expensive to buy. How much it could cost you to get them fixed? We'll break that down next. You're watching The Now. Technology could be the reason you're going to have to pay more in a crash because it is driving up repair costs in some cars. iCar is a company that looks at car repair education and says that a hit to the front bumper of a Kia K900, it could cost somewhere around $34,000 to fix. Keep in mind the car itself costs about $51,000. So this really an extreme case, but you kind of get the point. An Industry Trends publication found that on average, repair costs, they're going up by 2%. That's according to USA Today. Now, the surprising part here is it's not just the parts that cost more, it's additional labor. Now, if mechanics are going to fix one part of your car, they'll probably need to take apart more parts, including things like sensors, even if the sensors weren't affected. Now, we all know how out of control student loan debt is. Well, Congress is trying to do something about that. Tomorrow here on The Now, our investigative team looking into why new legislation may make things harder for some struggling with student loans.
And coming up tonight on 23 ABC News at 11, the aftermath of Florence. Rivers are still rising after days of relentless rain in the Carolinas. Overnight rescue teams still working to pull people from flood waters. The plans for what's next for those dealing with this powerful storm. Again, that's tonight on 23 ABC News at 11.
And the countdown to the fair is officially over. The Kern County Fair begins tomorrow and temperatures are going to be feeling like fall. When doors open at 3 p.m., it's going to be 84 degrees and then a slight warm up begins on Thursday, but temperatures right on track with seasonal.
Well, I'm looking forward to the fair.
I know, it's going to be fun.
Well, that's going to do it for us here at The Now.